So I've been challenged by Matt from the Whoniversals, who's created the Doctor Who 100 episodes tag. And it's a hypothetical scenario where all the Doctor Who episodes exist and the BBC archives are burning. And you have to pick only 100 individual Doctor Who episodes to save. It is absolute torture, but I have made my final decision. We're going to find out which 100 episodes I chose to save today on the Doctor Who Guide. The best box set that you can buy for Doctor Who. Hey guys, welcome back to the Doctor Who Guide, where it's all about helping you and me grow our knowledge collection and connection. If you like what you see and would love to support me, my family, and the channel financially, well then you can do that even if you don't have any spare cash. How does that work? Well, in the description down below and in the card up above there are links to Amazon, a little tiny site you may have heard of before. If you click on those links, that starts a 24-hour window where my Amazon Associates account will get credited with any purchases that you make, and I make a small commission. So if you click the link and within the next 24 hours buy 5 or 10 Doctor Who DVDs, I know how you guys shop, I would get a 2 to 4% commission on that. Different categories get different commissions, up until 10%. There are links in the card up above and in the description down below for Amazon.co.uk, Amazon.com, Amazon.de, Amazon.au, Amazon.ca. So definitely consider shopping and supporting the Doctor Who Guide. I know that you might look at this list and go, how could you not save this episode and yet still include this episode? This is not an ideal list for me. Also, a lot of people will be coming at it from a posterity standpoint, like how can I save the best of what Doctor Who has to offer? I want to kind of mix that with the other end of the spectrum, where you are going to see episodes on this list that I personally enjoy, maybe barely anybody else does, and so I think it's going to be an interesting mix. It would be great to see the team at All Things Doctor Who do this challenge, as well as Council of Geeks, as well as 6 Hours of Battery Life, as well as anybody else who wants to do this challenge. You are therefore nominated by me. So the first episode on this list, it was an easy pick. It's An Unearthly Child Part 1, not Parts 2 through 4. Goodness knows we don't need those cavemen. Me make fire, no you make fire. Those can burn. The Daleks Part 2. I wanted this because I wanted the first appearance of the Daleks in Doctor Who, but I didn't want to save episode 1 because all you see is a plunger, and that gets reshot technically in episode 2. The rest of the story though will have to be left up to people's imagination. Next up we have the Dalek Invasion of Earth, episodes 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6. But I wanted to save as much of that story as possible, especially the ending, because I just think it's so good. The Chase Part 6, because it made me cry, and I just love it. If you've seen it, like no spoilers, but if you've seen it, you know why. Nobody's gonna know what happened before that. The Daleks Master Plan. I have chosen to save all of it. Not Mission to the Unknown, but all of the other 12 episodes. And I know that is potentially a huge waste of episodes in some people's minds. This story just needs to exist all in video. It's such an amazing epic. I haven't even listened to the rest of the story, but I've only seen the 3 episodes, and I just know I want all of that story. The Massacre Part 4, just the 1 episode, but that ending is really like powerful and cool, so I've heard, so I'm keeping that in there, and it would be great to see that on screen. The 10th Planet Part 4, if you've seen it, you know why I absolutely needed to include it in this list. The Moon Base, all 4 parts, the entire story. You know a story is one of my all-time favorites if I've saved all of it. So the Moon Base, it's an incredible Cybermen story. Tomb of the Cybermen, I've only saved 3 of the episodes 1, 3, and 4, or whichever middle episode had the Doctor's like really awesome speech in there. I just needed that extra episode for other things. It's hard. Next up we have The Web of Fear Part 3, because The Brigadier, first episode. The War Games Part 10, again, because you need to be sad sometimes. You need to get out those tears. So Spearhead from Space Part 1, episode 1 is on here. Inferno Parts 1 and 7. I have the beginning and ending of that awesome story. It was so good, but it's just 7 episodes. It's long. The Sea Devils Part 2, because the Master and the Doctor have a sword fight and they stop for lunch in the middle of it, and it's amazing. So yeah, that made it onto the list. The Green Death Part 6, because it's one of the best pieces of Doctor Who television that exists. It's so heart-wrenching and I love it. The Three Doctors. I probably didn't need to save all 4 parts of this, but I just couldn't pass up a single second of this story. The villain is amazing. The very first 3 actors to play the Doctor in color. The Time Warrior Part 1. First Sarah Jane Smith episode. I will not apologize for that. Also, first Centaurans episode. Next up is Robot Part 1. It's the first Tom Baker episode. Felt like I had to say that. Genesis of the Daleks. I'm only saving 5 out of the 6 episodes, but there is a reason for that. It's not because I hate episode 5, it's just that I've seen this episode condensed by about 20 minutes in theaters, and the story still worked really well. Like, they cut out a lot of episode 1, and then also, I think, a lot of more towards the end with episode 5 and 6. Parts where they're like running back and forth through tunnels, and there's just a lot of back and forth. I know Genesis is a wonderful story, and I wouldn't part with any of it, but for this challenge. Terror of the Zygons, all 4 parts made it, because I love this story, and it's awesome. Just Zygons. The Deadly Assassin, parts 1, 3, and 4. Numbers, just an amazing story that still stands the test of time, has some of the best lore about Gallifrey and the Time Lords, and you don't get a lot of that in the classic series. The next 3 Tom Baker stories, I knew I wanted to save all of them. Robots of Death, The Ribos Operation, and City of Death. Robots of Death because it's just absolutely brilliant. It's the best of Base Under Siege and Robophobia and murder mysteries, and it's just so good. I personally love it better than The Talents of Wing Chang. The Ribos Operation, it's really an underrated story, and it's one of those personal favorites ones that I had to keep it on the list more so than one of the episodes of Tomb of the Cybermen because it's amazing. The dialogue is incredible. The comic duo of Garen and Unstoff is just brilliant. Tom Baker's at his best. Romana the First is there, and it's an incredible crime heist type story, and I love it. And the moment between Binro the Heretic and Unstoff, it's amazing. And City of Death because it's like probably the best Tom Baker 4-parter out there. It's amazing. Douglas Adams, the dialogue is just laugh out loud. Some of the best lines have come out of that story. Location shooting is just incredible, and yeah, yes. Earthshark. It's a new episode that you don't know about. Adric gets eaten by sharks. Earthshock Part 4 because splat. The 5 Doctors, all of it. This was an easy decision. It's a 90-minute episode that counts as 1 on this list. So ha, I feel like it's a loophole. So ha. Resurrection of the Daleks. Couldn't bear to part with this episode, but I could only bring myself to save episode 2 because I needed to make room. A Dalek gets pushed out of a building, and I think that happens in episode 2. I think. If it happens in episode 1, I'll swap. The Caves of Androzani Part 4, raising awareness for the need for a cure to Spectrox toxemia other than giant bat milk since 1984. 6? 85? 84. Yeah. Vengeance on Varus Part 1, because Syl is one of the most incredible aliens ever to be on Doctor Who, and I chose Part 1 just because it would be so annoying to have that cliffhanger and never know what happened. Yeah, that's what I was a little bit mean on that one. The Two Doctors Part 3, I know! Who would have chosen this story? I chose it because Patrick Troughton and Fraser Hines are back in color with Colin Baker and Nicola Bryant, and it's hilariously bad. It's Centaurans, but it's amazing. Paradise Towers. I have saved all 3 episodes. I know! That's a waste of 3% of my list. Tomb of the Cybermen and Genesis aren't even complete, but I have Paradise Towers on this list. Why? Here's my logic. If you only save the best 100 episodes, everybody's gonna think that the rest of Doctor Who was like that, and it's just gonna become the new normal. Nobody's gonna appreciate anything. So you need an occasional episode to remind people of how bad things could get. Also, this episode is so bad, it's great, because they were intentionally very comedic. Oh, hail the great architect. I mean, it's hilarious. Binliner is the name of a character in the episode. Are you a Red King? No, I'm a Blue King. Blue King's bad. Red King's good. It's just hilarious. I am Hex, and I will save the day. It's just, there's so many great lines. I mean, there's this machine, and it's going hungry, and there's a guy that's like, talk to daddy, my pet. What is it? What do you need? Hungry. It's amazing. And there are cannibals, and it's elderly cannibals. How can you let that go? It's on the list. It's too late. You can take it off of your list. Remembrance of the Daleks. I only saved 3 episodes of this story partially to make room for that. Great. It's an amazing story. Ace beats up a Dalek with a baseball bat. Like, how can you not include that on your list? Battlefield Part 4, because this is an incredible story. A really awesome character comes back in it, and it's hilarious. I love it. I love the mix of modern day characters, like teaming up with characters of Arthurian legend. So that's a great story. Sadly, I could only say part 4. Same goes for Survival, part 4, because end of an era, and it's amazing, and the ending makes me cry. I chose to say the TV movie. The TV movie on itself isn't necessarily good enough for me to want it on this list, but the casting of Paul McGann as the Doctor was definitely good enough, because if this still exists, that means that Big Finish would be casting Paul McGann as the Doctor, and we would have all these lovely 8th Doctor audios. So now we're on to the new series of Doctor Who, and for Series 1, I've saved Rose, because Matt from the Whoniversals convinced me to. It's so many people's first episode, including my own, that, like, it deserves to be on the list. And I've also saved Dalek, because it's amazing. Rob Shearman, one of the best 9th Doctor episodes that wasn't a 2-parter, so that's why it's on the list. Next up is Series 2. I saved School Reunion because, again, an amazing companion comes back on this episode, so I had to save it. The Girl in the Fireplace, because it's incredible. Just incredible. The way they use time travel in this episode is really cool. It's very heartbreaking. It's awesome. The Age of Steel, because I love that parallel universe Cyberman 2-parter, and I especially like how the ending wraps up. Doomsday. Do I need to say anything about this episode other than that it's awesome if you haven't seen it? Series 3, there's so much of Series 3 that is incredible that I want on this list. I've chosen Human Nature and Family of Blood because really cool historical. I absolutely love it. David Tennant's acting on point. Now we're on to Series 4, and I had to save so much of this series because it's one of my personal favorite Doctor Who series of all time. Voyage of the Damned, really cool story, great base under siege, just iconic. The Fires of Pompeii, brilliant ethical and moral dilemmas. We should run into more of those in a time travel show, and it's just incredible. Midnight, I mean, what a brilliant story. Literally not even a base under siege, it was a bus under siege story, so really, really good. The Stolen Earth, Journey's End, one of the best finales ever of Doctor Who, and then just a beautiful celebration of the Russell T Davies era. Love it. Waters of Mars, it's incredible. Yes, again, deals with time travel, and it's emotional and hard and tough, and you don't know who you're rooting for or what you're rooting for. You just want people to get out alive, and not everybody makes it, so that's pretty epic. Vincent and the Doctor, this was, along with City of Death and Robots of Death, was the episodes that first came to my mind when making this list. Vincent and the Doctor is incredible, just so emotional, so lovely, incredible. The Angels Take Manhattan, again, one of the most heartbreaking episodes ever. Next up is the Zygon Inversion because of that beautiful speech. It's an anti-war speech, which is brilliant, and it's incredible. The Doctor standing up for what is good, what is right, and just, so good. In the end, we're all just gonna have to sit down and figure things out, so why not do it without bloodshed? 2 episodes from Series 11 made it on this list. The first one is Rosa, because so important, so relevant, got such a powerful and impactful scene, so well done. The music, the episode just leaves you speechless, and it's incredible. The 100th episode on this list is Demons of the Punjab. Again, I loved the message in the story, the powerful ending, just the way that the historical is just done so much justice, and it really is a spirit of especially the beginnings of Doctor Who. That is my list. It has helped me find what episodes I truly love and think about why I love them. That's really cool. Thank you so much to Matt from the Whoniversals for creating this challenge. If you want to check out their channel and subscribe, you can click or tap the round icon right here. If you want to see more videos like this, well then you can click or tap the subscribe icon. And if you want to find out more ways to support the channel, you can click or tap the box right here.